Good morning, everyone. I'm Judge Amy Carter. This is Courtroom 1, Session 1. Could I have the attorneys place their appearances on the record, please?
Kathy Kennedy Swans on behalf of the Office of the State Attorney.
Good morning, Alexis Augusto on behalf of the Office of the Public Defender.
Thank you. Sir, good morning. Your name?
James Fowler.
Mr. Fowler, you are here in case number 19 CF 5320. You were arrested for threatening a public servant, trespass and structure, and theft from a public lodging establishment. I do find probable cause, sir. I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you.
I never stole anything though, ma'am. Is there any way I can just get
No, sir. At this time, I'm going to set your bond at $500 on count 1, $100 on count 2, and $100 on count 3.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
We ask for no return as well, Your Honor.
Yeah, so you can't return to the Coco, is it the Coco K?
Can I get like the same thing right now, like?
The
2
Coco
weeks or-
Key Resort, sir.
I couldn't get like 2 weeks or like anything like that, like. No.
No, sir. Thank you. Good morning, ma'am. Your name?
Carly Cassidy.
Miss Cassidy, you are here in case number 19 CF 5350. You were arrested for battery on a law enforcement officer. I do find probable cause for that offense, ma'am. You also have 19 CF 5354. You're arrested for aggravated battery. Mr. Augusto, do you have a probable cause challenge in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
As to the 2 charges of aggravated battery, we would like to make a probable cause challenge as to that. In the affidavit, it states that the 2 victims were struck with some kind of trash can lid.
Okay.
We do not see how that's a deadly weapon and was not used in such a way as to create, which the statute requires it either be a deadly weapon or a weapon must be used in a way that causes great bodily harm, permanent disability, or permanent disfigurement. In this matter, there's no indication that any of those occurred.
Okay. State?
I think the way that it was used, it says, one of the victims says, I think it's Mr. Michael, that she was violently swinging the metal trash can lid, and was able to strike this particular defendant, pinned him up against the wall. I think the manner in which she used that trash can lid made it a deadly weapon in that moment.
Okay.
And Your Honor, if I may retort
Sure.
to that, just something I needed to also point out was at the very top of the affidavit, it states the very first sentence, on April 15, 2019, I, Deputy Sheriff Mendoza, responded to the address in reference to an aggravated battery, which was later determined to be a battery. So we ask that the charges reflect that.
Mr. Augusto, I think that there is probable cause for the offense of aggravated battery. I think it's a fact question as to whether or not it actually is a deadly weapon, but I will take into consideration the facts of the case when setting the bond amount.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay?
Your Honor, when setting a bond, we would ask that the court consider putting no unsupervised contact with the minor child, no alcohol or drugs, while on any conditions of release that Your Honor sets.
Okay. So, we have that case. In 19 CF 5350, I'm going to set your bond at $1,000, ma'am. And then in 19 CF 5354, there is probable cause for an aggravated battery. I'm going to set your bond at $150 in that matter, ma'am. And you're not to have any contact with Angel Mendoza. You also have case number 19 CF 5351, that's resisting officer with violence. I do find probable cause for that offense. I'm going to set your bond at $150 in that matter. And then 19 CF 5352, That is neglect of a child. I do find probable cause for that offense, ma'am. I'm also gonna set your bond at $150 in that matter. And then 19 MM 3211, you were arrested for disorderly intoxication. I find probable cause for that offense as well, ma'am. Your bond will be $150 in that matter. And again, in 19 CF 5353, that's aggravated battery, I do find probable cause. I'll set your bond at $150 in that case. And you are not to have any contact with Frank Dolly or Michael Del Prado. I'm gonna order, ma'am, that you're not to have, you're not to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs while you're out on bond, and I'm gonna order that you're to comply with any DCF requests or investigations, okay?
We'd also ask for a no return to the
Yes, I
worker.
believe this is also the Kokoki
Yes, Your Honor.
Resort, ma'am, okay? Thank you. Sir, good morning. Your name?
John Iannarone. Good morning.
Sir, this is case number 19 CF 5318. You were arrested pursuant to a warrant where probable cause was already found for failing to register as required. Your bond, sir, is $2,500. And I will appoint the public defender's office to represent you, sir. Now, you understand you have reporting requirements, sir. You understand?
Yeah, I just forgot with everything going in and out of the hospital.
All right. Well, when you get out of here, make sure you report. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Hi, good morning, sir. Your name?
Omar Oyola.
Sir, this is case number 19 CF 5341. You were arrested for possession of a Lazapram and possession of a suspended driver's license. I find probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you, sir. Your bond on count 1 is $500 and your bond on count 2 is $100. Thank you, sir.
Should be a driver license suspended.
I do. Mr. Omar, you also have case number 19 CT 813, and that's for driving while license suspended. I do find probable cause for that offense, sir, and your bond will be $150. Thank you. Sir, good morning. Your name?
Blaine Harsh Bartley.
Mr. Bartley, this is case number 19 MO 689. This is for possession and consumption of alcohol prohibited in public. I find probable cause. I will appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Is there an offer for Mr. Bartley?
Adjudication 3 days.
You want to accept that offer, Mr. Bartley?
Could I get 1 day?
You'll be released today, sir.
I will get released today. I'll take that too.
We'll take that offer, Your Honor.
Right.
Sorry?
Well, sir, you'll be released as to Orange County today.
Start.
Well, I'm not going to take any action, so yeah. You'll be released today, sir.
No.
Thank you. Mr. Bartley, did you read the plea form before you signed it?
Yes, I understand.
Okay, do you have any questions about any of the rights that you're giving up on this form?
No,
Okay. Sir, are you on probation?
no,
Do you understand if you're not a United States citizen that this plea will subject you to deportation?
yes,
Have you taken any drugs, alcohol, or medication
No.
that would affect your ability to understand what's happening in court today?
no,
Okay. Sir, I'm going to accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 3 days in the Orange County Jail with credit for 2 days, time served. You also need to pay court costs. Those need to be paid by April 16th of 2020. And you have 30 days to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court in writing. Case number 19MM168 and 18MM4346. I will take no action on those cases. Thank you, sir.
Nothing wants to go off at this point, so. I don't know names off the top of my head again. Yeah, no objection to Blue Washington.
19M0690. Are you Mr. Finley?
yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Mr. Finley. You were here for an open container. I do find probable cause. State, could we resolve Mr. Finley's, both of his cases today? He has 19M0677 open container, and now he has 19M0690 open
I can't do the
container.
MO, once the case leaves IA's, then it becomes the city's case, and so I can't make an offer on, I can only do the IA offer for city cases. That's the agreement between the state attorney's office and the city, so I don't know what their offer would be
Okay.
in the, but it's a 5-day offer for the current case.
Mr. Finley, do you want to accept the state's offer this morning?
Yes.
Ma'am.
The state has offered 5 days to resolve your case this morning. What would you like to do, sir?
I accept it all.
Okay, I need you to sign the plea form, please. Thank you. Mr. Finley, did you read the plea form before you signed it?
Yes, ma'am, I already read it before.
Okay. Do you have any questions about any of the rights on the form?
No, ma'am.
Are you on probation?
Ma'am?
Are you on probation?
No, ma'am, no
Okay.
probation.
Sir, do you understand if you're not a United States citizen that this plea will subject you to deportation?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you taken any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would affect your ability to understand what's happening in court this morning?
No, ma'am.
All right, sir. I'm going to adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 5 days in the Orange County Jail with credit for 2 days' time served. There are court costs that you need to pay. Those need to be paid by April 16th of 2020, and you have 30 days to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court in writing. And then in case number 19M0677, I'll take no action on that case, sir.
Yes,
Okay?
ma'am.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning, sir. Your name?
Bohal William.
Excuse me?
Bohal William.
Mr. Bohal, this is case number 19MM178. You were arrested for trespassing. I do find probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you, sir. State, is there an offer for Mr. Bohal?
Yes, adjudication, 5 days, no return.
Mr. Bohal, did you hear that?
5 days, no
Yeah.
return.
Correct. To Starbucks. You can't go back to the Starbucks.
We will accept that offer, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Bohal, did you read the plea form before you signed it?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about any of the rights you're giving up on the form?
No.
Sir, are you on probation?
No.
Do you understand if you're not a United States citizen that this plea will subject you to deportation?
Yes.
Have you taken any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would affect your ability to understand what's happening in court this morning?
No.
Sir, I'm going to accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 5 days in the Orange County Jail with credit for 2 days' time served. You also cannot return to the Starbucks at 2519 Aloma Avenue. You have to pay court costs. Those need to be paid by April 16th of 2020, and you have 30 days to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court in writing. All right. Thank you, sir. Good morning, sir. Your name?
Thaddeus Green.
Mr. Green, this is case number 19MM3207. You were arrested for petty theft. I do find probable cause, and I will appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. Is there an offer for Mr. Green?
There is not, Your Honor.
Okay.
We just asked for a no return.
All right, Mr. Green, your bond is $250. Thank you.
And was that a no return as
Oh,
well?
I'm sorry, yes. Sir, you can't return to the Walmart on Princeton, do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
On Mr. Jones's case, Your Honor, state has no objection to an ROR.
Your Honor, Mr. Jones refused.
Okay. Well, we'll reset Mr. Jones. Good morning. Are you Mr. Kimball?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, you're here in case number 19MM3206. You were arrested for possession of drug paraphernalia, sir. I do find probable cause for the offense, and I'll appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You also have case number 19M0693, where you were arrested for disorderly conduct. I also find probable cause for that offense, and I'll appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you, sir. Mr. Kimball, I'm gonna release you ROR,
Yes, ma'am.
but I wanna be very clear. If I see you again, I'm revoking all of the bonds. You cannot go up to cars and ask people for things, okay? You're gonna get arrested every time.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
understand me?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Can I get the MO case number, Your Honor?
I'm not taking any action on 19M0674.
Can I get the MO case number, Your Honor, again?
2019 MO693.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good morning, ma'am. Your name?
My name is Andrea Eddy, Your Honor.
Miss Eddy, this is case number 19CT 2859. You were arrested for DUI I do find probable cause, ma'am, for the offense. I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you, and I'm going to order pretrial release. Thank you, ma'am. Sir, good morning. Your name?
Mr. Kane.
Mr. Kane, this is a determination of counsel hearing. Based upon the affidavit that you completed, I will appoint the public defender's office to represent you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have an update, Mr. Crum? No? Okay. Good morning. Are you Mr. Crum?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, this is case number 19MM352. Are you seeking to have the public defender appointed?
Correct.
Okay. Sir, do you have a job?
I do.
How much money do you make every 2 weeks after taxes?
640.
Okay, 640?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you have any dependents?
No.
Pardon me?
No, I don't.
Okay. Is he followed on? 640 every 2 weeks? Okay. All right, sir, based upon your testimony, I will appoint the public defender's office to represent you. They should be in contact with you very shortly.
Actually, Your Honor, he's already my client.
Oh,
He's
okay.
already been signed. So I'm just here for his bond motion,
It's a bond hearing, Your Honor.
bond hearing.
Okay. On the add-on?
Yes, Your Honor.
Who's that? I do. All right, just give me a second to take a look at this.
Okay.
What's Mr. Crum charged with?
It's just the arrest for the battery and resisting. The state has not made a charging decision.
Mr. Thompson, are you gonna have your client sworn?
Yes, Your Honor.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give, sure but the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, my client has been in the Orange County Jail since April the 6th. Still is unable to post his bond as it's set currently. I will be asking the court to consider a release RR in this case. Mr. Crum, if you're released today, do you promise to appear to all future court dates?
I do.
Will you remain in contact with me to be informed about any future appearances you may have in the future or what steps need to be taken to resolve your case?
Yes, sir.
Is it true that you have no family or friends to reach out to help you in posting your bail because they are all deceased at this time?
That's correct.
Is it true that you tried reaching out to 4 different bail bondsmen, but you were told that you needed someone to sign for you and you have no one at this time to produce that signature?
Correct.
Is it true that you have no other friends or family located in the surrounding Central Florida area?
None.
Is it true that you are employed as a day laborer?
That's correct. Semi-correct.
And is it true that you cannot reach out to your employer at this time because it's a big corporation and they won't accept collect calls?
That's correct.
Is it true that due to your incarceration that are in jeopardy of losing your employment at this time?
Obviously, yes, correct.
To the best of your knowledge, is it true that you haven't been in trouble within the last 10 years?
That's correct.
Is it true that you have very little money of your own to post your own bill, and the only asset that you have to your name is a personal laptop computer?
Correct.
If you're released, will you reside at 124 Elnor Drive, Orlando, Florida, 32808?
If it's still possible, yes.
And if it's not possible for you to reside at that, is it true that you could go to another halfway house?
That's correct.
And is it true that you also may have a little bit of money to afford a motel at this time?
That's correct.
Do you promise not to leave the jurisdiction of the court if you're released?
I won't, no.
To the best of your knowledge, is it true that you have no failures to appear?
I don't.
And Your Honor, I would like to add that there's no evidence before the court at this time that Mr. Crum poses a substantial threat to any victim in this case or the judicial process,
Was it your testimony that you've not been in trouble in the last 10 years?
to the best of his knowledge.
That wasn't my question to you, Mr. Thompson. My question is to the defendant. Was it your testimony that you have not been in trouble in the last 10 years? Was that the answer you gave previously?
I don't remember anything.
Okay. Do you know of any outstanding warrants you may have from 2013?
No.
Okay. No further questions to the defendant in this argument.
Okay.
State would object to the motion. I did have a chance to speak to the victim who couldn't make it down to court this morning. The victim does object. He is currently concerned and in fear of his life from this defendant. There was, based on the reading of the original police report, he was struck multiple times by this defendant. He also had blood coming from his ears. He said the defendant was using alcohol at the time. Based on the defendant's criminal history, he has no criminal history in Florida, Your Honor. However, he is a 3-state offender. Out-of-state convictions include aggravated battery, domestic violence, assault with a firearm, voluntary manslaughter, DUIs, agbats, aggravated assaults, a number of violent and dangerous crimes. We believe that a $500 bond and a $100 bond on count 2 is a reasonable bond. We still ask for no contact with the victim. It looks like he does have an outstanding warrant. Currently, they just won't extradite from Florida. It's not one of the surrounding states. So based on his criminal history, the violent nature of this charge, we believe that these are appropriate bonds for this defendant.
Can I address the arguments of the state? As it relates to the victim's statement, I would assert to the court that that's hearsay. The alleged victim in this case is not here to testify for herself, Your Honor, and if there's no contact order, I think those are reasonable conditions to ensure the alleged victim's safety in this case, Your Honor. These are all allegations at this present time. No charges have been filed against my client. I would ask the court to consider release ROR, Your Honor. Yeah, no Florida criminal history.
Your Honor, if you need a copy of the criminal history, PTR.
I have it.
Oh, you have it as well? Okay.
And right now, he could afford to bond out with the help of a bail bondsman, Your Honor. But like I said, all his friends and family are deceased, so he has no one to produce that signature for him. So if he's not granted a much lower bond or an ROR, he's gonna have to stay in here until the resolution of his case. He's tried all avenues to secure his bond. He's been unsuccessful.
Mr. Crum, I'm gonna grant your motion. I'm gonna release you on your own recognizance with the following conditions that I believe have already been in place since your initial appearance. Mr. Crum testified that he can't afford the bond. And so that's why I'm releasing him on his own recognizance. Otherwise, he would be, if he could post the bond, he would be out in the community if he had the money to pay it. Mr. Crum, you cannot have any contact with Stephen Craig. Do you understand? You cannot return to 1240 Eleanor Drive.
How do, everything that I own is there?
Okay, I will allow you to go there one time with
Yes,
law
ma'am.
enforcement to get your belongings.
Okay,
You have to call the police before you go there and make sure that they're with you, otherwise you're gonna get arrested.
okay.
Do you
Police
understand?
or the sheriff? Does it matter either one?
If
'cause
you're
I
in
think the
city, I would
sheriff's
call the
working there.
city, but if you live in
Okay,
the county, then you need to call the sheriff,
okay.
okay? But you have to go with the law enforcement,
Yes, ma'am.
otherwise you will be arrested,
Okay,
okay? You have to maintain a separate residence for Mr. Craig, and you're not to possess any alcohol or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs while you're out. Do you
Okay.
understand?
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Please do.
Good morning, are you Mr. Farmer?
Yes, ma'am. How you doing?
Good morning, sir. Good, thank you. You are here for determination of counsel hearing.
What'd you say?
You are here for a determination of counsel hearing to see if you qualify for the public defender's office to represent you,
Okay.
okay? Based upon your testimony, sir, or your affidavit that you completed, you do qualify for the public defender's office, and I will appoint them to represent you.
Okay.
Right, thank you, sir.
Is that it?
That's all.
Do you have to go to court again here, or do you have to go to downtown court?
I don't know, sir. I don't. Is that it? You'll go downtown.
When is my next hearing? Does you know?
I don't know.
Okay.
All right. Good morning. Your name?
Samuel Lamar Taylor III.
Mr. Taylor.
Mr.
This
Taylor,
is-
I have no objection to following the order in 18 MM 11505. He's already, 505, excuse me. He's already been adjudged incompetent in that case, Your Honor.
Okay. And I'm assuming that's what you're requesting,
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Gusto. Okay. So this is case number 19 MM2771 Samuel Taylor. Mr. Taylor, I've read the motion provided by your counsel, and I'm going to grant the motion. And we are going to adopt the conditional release that is in 18 MM 426, okay? That's Judge Duckworth's case. So you have to comply with all of the conditions that are in that release. What group home do you live in?
Oh, I'm going to summertime.
Oh, okay. All right, sir.
So I'll be released today?
Yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome, sir.
Thanks.
Okay, Alexis. This guy was 7 days. Okay, sorry. This is Andrew, no, bearer.
Yeah.
Okay. Mhm.
Sir, good morning. Your name?
Adriano, good morning.
Is Ribeiro your last name?
It sure is, Your Honor.
Okay, sir, good morning. This is case number 19MM 3208. You were arrested for trespass on property after warning. I do find probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Is there an offer for Mr. Ribeiro?
Yes, so withhold 7 days, no return.
Okay, so basically. Your Honor, my client does not want to resolve his case today.
Okay. Mr. Ribeiro, are you here on vacation?
Yes, Your Honor, I am here on vacation.
When are you scheduled to go home?
Well, I was supposed to go home last night, Your Honor.
Okay.
I'm planning to go home tonight. I tried to post bail yesterday, filled out all the paperwork, called the people from across the street,
Okay.
but it was never processed by the house.
Okay. So your bond is $1,000. I'm gonna order that you're not to return to the Orlando International Airport unless you have a valid ticket, like a valid plane ticket to get
Sure.
home. Do you understand?
I sure do, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, sir. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Sir, good morning. Your name?
Gabriel Acevedo, Your Honor.
Mr. Acevedo, this is case number 19 CF 5338. You were arrested for possession of heroin and possession of drug paraphernalia. I find probable cause and will appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Your bond on count 1 is going to be $500, and your bond on count 2 is $100. Yes. Okay. Sir, good morning. Your name?
Alfonso Armstead.
Mr. Armstead, this is case number 19 CF 4958. You were arrested pursuant to a warrant where probable cause was previously found for the offense of sale and delivery of cocaine. I will appoint the public defender's office to represent you, sir, for both of your cases. Your bond in that case is $1,000. In 19 MM 3190, you were arrested for possession of drug paraphernalia. I find probable cause for that offense, and your bond is $100. Thank you, sir. Good morning, sir. Your name?
Algernon DeAndre Armstrong.
Mr. Armstrong? This is case number 19 CF 5334. You were arrested for dealing in stolen property, 2 counts, receiving money from a pawnbroker by false verification, 2 counts, burglary of a dwelling, grand theft 3rd degree, and criminal mischief. I find probable cause for all of the counts, sir, and I will appoint the public defender's office to represent you. I'm going to set your bond at $5,000 on count 5. I'm going to stay the bond on count 1 at $2,500, and I'll stay the bond on counts 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7 at $150. Thank you, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Your name?
Brian Bostic.
Mr. Bostic, this is case number 19 CF 5375. You were arrested for burglary of a conveyance, criminal mischief, and petty theft. I do find probable cause, sir. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you. And I'm going to set your bond is $3,500 on count 1, 100 on count 2, and 100 on count 3.
We'd ask for no return as well, Your Honor. 405 Spore Lane.
Okay. Sir, you cannot return to 405 Spore Lane. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Good morning. Your name?
Orlando Candelaria.
Mr. Candelaria, this is case number 19 CF 5342. You were arrested for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. I find probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you, sir, and your bond is $2,500.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Okay, we'll reset Mr. Carter's case. Sir, good morning. Your name?
Henry Lee Gamble Coleman.
Mr. Coleman, this is case number 19 CF 5339. You were arrested for burglary of a conveyance. I find probable cause. Sir, were you going to hire an attorney, or do you want to see if you qualify for the public defender? You didn't fill out an application, so did you want to hire your own lawyer, or do you want to see if you qualify for the public defender?
Public defender.
Excuse me?
Public defender.
Okay, do you have a job? Mr. Gamble, are you having problems understanding me?
I don't know. I have no clue.
Excuse me?
I have no clue.
You don't know if you have a job? Okay, we'll reset Mr. Gamble's case. Thank you. You can think about it. Good morning. Your name, sir?
Bradley Garvin.
Mr. Garvin, this is case number 19 CF 5329. You were arrested for possession of a controlled substance, possession of cannabis greater than 20 grams, and possession of drug paraphernalia. I do find probable cause, sir. And I will appoint the public defender's office to represent you. So you live in Wisconsin?
Yeah,
Okay. When do you go home?
Friday morning.
All right, so I'm gonna set your bond at $500 on count 1, and I'm gonna ROR you on counts 2 and 3.
What is ROR?
So you don't have a monetary bond on counts 2 and count 3, it's on your own recognizance,
Okay,
okay? You have to come back to any court appearances that you may have in Florida, so the public defender's office has been appointed to represent you. Make sure you have that form there, make sure they have your correct contact information. I would also make sure that the Orange County Clerk of Courts has your contact information, because if you don't show up for court, they're gonna issue a warrant for your arrest. All right?
Okay.
All right, thank you, sir. Good morning, sir. Your name?
Mitchell here.
Mr. Hare, this is case number 19 CF 5335. You were arrested for possession of a stolen or counterfeit credit card, 2 counts. I find probable cause. I will appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Your bond is $1,000 on count 1 and $150 on count 2. Thank you, sir. Good morning, sir. Your name?
Elijah Hassan Mohammed.
Sir, this is case number 19 CF 5358. You were arrested for possession of cocaine. I do find probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you, sir. Your bond is $500. Thank you, sir. Good morning. Your name, sir?
Jarvis Hines.
Mr. Hines, this is case number 19 CF 5343. You were arrested for possession of ecstasy. I find probable cause. You also have case number 19 MO 688. You were arrested for possession of alcohol in a public space, sir. I do find probable cause for that. I'll appoint the public defender for both cases. Can we resolve the MO case this morning?
Adjudication, 3 days.
All right. Mr. Hines, do you want to accept the state's offer?
Yes.
Okay, so you have the 2 cases. The open container case we can resolve this morning. The other one we can't.
Okay.
Okay? And your bond on that case is going to be $500. And then you'll do the 3 days on this case.
So my bond on the other one is how much?
500.
Okay.
Thank you. Oops. Thanks. Okay, Mr. Hines, did you read the plea form before you signed it?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any questions about any of the rights you're giving up on the form?
No.
Are you on probation?
No.
Do you understand if you're not a United States citizen that this plea will subject you to deportation?
Yes.
Have you taken any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would affect your ability to understand what's happening in court this morning?
No.
Sir, I'll accept your plea. I'm going to adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 3 days in the Orange County Jail with credit for 2. You have to pay court costs. Those need to be paid by April 16th of 2020. You have 30 days to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court in writing, sir, and you do have reporting requirements as well.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Good morning. Your name, sir?
Reginald Huntley.
Excuse me?
Reginald Huntley.
Mr. Huntley, this is case number 19 CF 5327. You were arrested for criminal mischief greater than $1,000. I do find probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you, sir. And I'm going to set your bond at $500. Good morning. Your name, sir?
Daniel Joyner.
Mr. Joyner, this is case number 19 CF 5336. You are arrested for dealing in stolen property. I find probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Your bond is $1,000, sir. Thank you. Sir, good morning. Your name?
Michael Lunder.
Sir, this is case number 19 CF 5357. You were arrested for possession of methamphetamine and possession of drug paraphernalia. I find probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Your bond is $500 on count 1 and $100 on count 2. And on 19 CF 3988, I'll take no action at this time, sir. Thank you. Good morning, ma'am. Your name?
Maria Pernisi.
Ms. Pernisi, this is case number 18 CF 14702. You failed to appear for case management on February 14th of this year. Your bond is currently set at none, and you'll have to see the judge downtown to see if that can be modified, ma'am. Thank you. Good morning. Your name?
Jonathan Rodriguez.
Mr. Rodriguez, this is case number 19 CF 4185. You were arrested for aggravated stalking with a credible threat pursuant to a warrant where probable cause was previously found. Mr. Rodriguez, were you going to hire an attorney, or do you need to see if you qualify for the public defender?
I was thinking I was gonna go private attorney.
Okay, certainly. We'll set you for a determination of counsel hearing in 1 week to see if you've been able to hire an attorney, okay? You need to hire one as soon as possible. At this time, sir, I'm going to order that you're not to have any contact with Bethany Bright,
Understood.
okay? And that means any form of contact whatsoever.
Won't even think of her. Understood.
And you're not to possess any weapons or any firearms?
Never
While
have,
out
never
on
will.
bond. All right, sir. Your bond is $25,000. Thank you. Good morning. Your name?
Luis Velasquez.
Mr. Velasquez, this is case number 19 CF 5349. You were arrested for driving while license suspended or revoked as a habitual offender. I find probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Your bond is $2,500. And on 18 CF 17891, I'm sorry, that's 19 CT 1682, I'll take no action. Do not drive, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
If you, I see you come back in here, I'm revoking the bonds.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Sir, good morning. Your name?
Paul Thomas.
Paul Thomas?
Yes, ma'am, Paul Thomas.
Mr. Thomas, this is case number 19M0691, sir. You are arrested for urinating in public. I do find probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender. Is there an offer for Mr. Thomas?
Yes, Your Honor. Withhold 3 days, no return.
Okay. Do you want to accept that offer, Mr. Thomas?
And we will accept that offer, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Thomas, did you read the plea form before you signed it? Okay. Do you have any questions about any of the rights you're giving up on this form? Okay. Sir, are you on probation?
No,
Do you understand if you're not a United States citizen that this plea will subject you to deportation?
I'm a U.S. citizen.
Sir, have you taken any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would affect your ability to understand what's happening in court this morning?
No,
I am going to accept your plea, withhold adjudication, sentence you to 3 days in the Orange County Jail with credit for 2 days' time served. You can't return to Chicken and Things downtown. You need to pay court costs. Those need to be paid by April 16th of 2020. And you have 30 days to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court in writing, sir. Thank you. Good morning, your name?
Devin.
Sir?
Devin.
Are you Devin Tome? Okay. How about Lysander, Weaver Lysander?
Possible, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll reset Mr. Lysander. All right, and you're Mr. Tome? You all right, Mr. Tome?
Yeah.
This is case number 19MM182. You were arrested for petty theft, first degree. I do find probable cause, sir. You were also arrested in 19MM183, trespass on property, not a structure or a conveyance. And I also find probable cause for that offense, and will appoint the public defender to represent you in both cases. Is there an offer for Mr. Tome?
There is not, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Tome, your bond on on 19MM182 is 500, and your bond on 19MM183, I'm sorry, 19MM182 will be 250, and 19MM183 will be 250. Thank you, sir. Good morning, your name?
Jeremy Terrell.
Mr. Troll, this is case number 19MM3204. You were arrested for petty theft. I do find probable cause, and I will appoint the public defender's office to represent you, sir. Is there an offer for Mr. Troll?
There is no offer, Your Honor.
Okay. Sir, this time your bond is $2,500. I'm sorry, $250.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, ma'am. Your name?
Good morning, Rakia Archibald.
Ma'am, you are here for an out-of-county warrant from Seminole County for the offenses of possession of heroin and resisting officer with violence. This is a violation of probation. At this time, your bond is set at none, and you'll see a judge when you get to Seminole County, ma'am.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Good morning, sir. Your name?
Ryan Jennings?
Mr. Jennings, you're here for an out-of-county warrant from Volusia County. This is a violation of probation for a DUI. Your bond is currently set at none, and you will see a judge when you get to Volusia County, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Good morning, your name?
Good morning, Your Honor. Miguel Rodriguez.
How about, did Mr. Labrador Santos bond? Okay. And Mr. Rodriguez, you are here for an out-of-county warrant for Broward County, sir. For a burglary of a structure, of an occupied structure, your bond is currently set at none, and you will see a judge when you get to Broward County. It looks like you have 2 cases, sir, out of Broward County, again, for burglary of a unoccupied structure. Your bond in that case is also set at none, and you'll see a judge when you get to Broward County, sir. Okay? Thank you. Good morning, ma'am. Your name?
Megan Matthias.
Ms. Matthias, this is case number 19MM3177. You were arrested for trespass on property after warning. I do find probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public well, ma'am, did you want the public defender's office to represent you, or do you want to hire your own attorney?
Public defender.
Okay, do you have a job?
No, but I'm gonna get one today.
Okay. Do you have any source of income?
I work with my boyfriend. We do landscape.
Okay, how much money do you make every 2 weeks?
Not that much right now.
Give me an estimate.
1,000 maybe, 500. Just depends. We want what job-
$500 every 2 weeks?
Yep.
Okay. Do
Yes,
you have any
ma'am.
dependents?
Yeah, I have a daughter, 7-year-old.
Okay. I'm gonna appoint the public defender, ma'am, to represent you based upon your testimony. Is there an, offer for Miss?
Yes, withhold 3 days.
All right.
So I think she has credit for 3 days, right?
Ma'am, did you want to accept that offer?
What? Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Please, thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. All right, Ms. Matthews, did you read the plea form before you signed it?
No.
The plea form, did you have it in the back this morning?
Yes, I did. I read every paper.
Okay.
Thoroughly.
Do you have any questions about any of the rights on this form?
No, ma'am.
Are you on probation?
No, ma'am.
Do you understand if you're not a United States citizen that this plea will subject you to deportation?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you taken any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would affect your ability to understand what's happening in court this morning?
No, ma'am.
All right. I'm going to accept your plea. I'm going to withhold adjudication, sentence you to 3 days in the Orange County Jail with credit for 3 days time served. You also have to pay court costs, and those need to be paid by April 16th of 2020. And you have 30 days to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court in writing. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir. Your name?
Good morning, Judge. Dominique Ortiz.
Mr. Ortiz, this is case number 19 CF 5284. Mr. Augusto, did you have a probable cause challenge in this matter?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Was it in 19 CF 5285?
And 287, yes.
Okay. All right, and then we also have 19 CF 5287. Okay, I have all the cases here in front of me. Go ahead, Mr. Augusto.
Yes, Your Honor. As to the charges for armed burglary in regards to 5287 and 5285, we have a probable cause challenge as to that. Your Honor, Mr. Ortiz was found with a simple pocket knife in his possession after the search. There was no evidence on the affidavit that he used it in any way. They just found it on him. Now, according to the statute for the armed burglary, if you give me one moment, Your Honor. It's at least the charge that they are charging him with under subsection 2 of 810.02. Burglary is defined by, burglary is a felony of the first degree punishable by imprisonment for a term of years not exceeding life imprisonment. And then more specifically in subsection B, if in the course of committing the offense, the offender is or becomes armed within the dwelling, structure, or conveyance with explosives or a dangerous weapon. And it looks like subsection B is the one that the officer cited to. We would argue that the pocket knife is not a dangerous weapon. If we could just look at another statute which defines the weapon itself, Florida Statute 790.001 and subsection 13.
Can you give me that statute again, real quick, defense?
Sorry?
Can you give me the statute number again?
Yes, sorry. It's Florida Statute 790.001.
Thank you.
Subsection 13. Under this, excuse me, under this statute, it defines the term weapon, and it's defined as any dirk, knife, metallic knuckles, slingshot, billy, tear gas gun, and so on. However, it does have an exception for common pocket knives, plastic knives, or blunt-bladed table knives. And the affidavit itself, in both cases, it was found that he only had a common pocket knife in his possession. So we would argue that according to the terms of the statute and the definition of a weapon itself, this falls directly within the exception to the rule.
Okay. State?
State's argument, Your Honor, would be that that is a question for the trier of fact, the jury or the judge, depending on how the case proceeds. If I look at 882 Southern 2nd 890, it's a Supreme Court of Florida case, Bunkley v. State of Florida from May 27, 2004. The defendant in that case filed a post-conviction motion based on a pocket knife or a folding knife in his pocket that was carried in his pocket during the entire burglary. At that point, it was a certified question, I believe, from the 3rd District Court of Appeals. And it stated that the holding in that case was that whether or not the pocket knife was a dangerous weapon was an element of the crime, and therefore the trier of fact was to determine, or the jury was to determine whether or not that was a dangerous weapon, even though carried in his pocket during the burglary during a trial.
Okay, can you give me a cite of that?
882 Southern Second, 890 Bunkley v. Florida. It's a May 27th, 2004 case.
And we do have a response, Your Honor, but we'll let you have time to look over the.
All right, give me 1 second, Mr. Gus.
Also, that is a 40-page-ish.
Go ahead, Mr. Augusto.
Okay. Yes, Your Honor. I did not have access to that case right at the moment. However, I did pull a couple cases of my own as well. We would argue that it does not fall within the exact wording of the statute. It clearly expresses that common pocket knives are an exception to this term of a weapon. However, we know that depending on the way that a weapon is used, it can be seen as a deadly weapon or dangerous weapon. I believe that's what that case was referring to. However, there must be some sort of proof that it was used in such a manner. More specifically, and I have a few cases here of my own, Mims versus State of Florida. It held that a common pocket knife may be considered a dangerous weapon for purposes of an armed burglary statute if it is used in a manner likely to cause death or great bodily harm. There was no evidence of that in this case. It was only found on him after the incident. I also have another case, Arroyo versus State, which stands for the proposition, excuse me, that although usually, generally, pocket knives are not dangerous weapons, in the absence of evidence that the pocket knife was used in a manner likely to cause death or great bodily harm. Therefore, we would argue just plain meaning of the statute that it doesn't fall into the weapon definition, and the affidavit has no mention, no indication of any evidence that the weapon or the pocket knife was used in any such manner. And I can provide, I have a copy of these cases if you would like me to bring it up.
Were you approached with those? Did you
Yes,
give
Your Honor.
the state a copy?
Yes, I
Give me the
Okay.
sites.
Okay.
I highlight one of the keynotes as well as some of the.
All right.
Okay, anything else from either party?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. I agree with Mr. Augusto. I don't think that there is probable cause for the armed burglary based upon the cases that he provided. I do agree that the pocket knife can be considered a dangerous weapon, but I don't see any facts in this affidavit that simply states that it was found in his pocket, search incident to arrest, that it was used in any manner likely to produce death or great bodily harm. So I'm not going to find probable cause for the armed burglary, but there is probable cause for burglary.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, state be heard on the out on bond cases as well.
Yes, just let me get through the
Yes, sure.
the bonds, and then we'll go back to the out on bonds. Okay, so. Okay, and so 19 CF 5285, there will be probable cause for burglary, and bond will be set at $3,500. Possession of cannabis less than 20 grams, $100. Sir, you cannot return to 2213 Morning Glory Drive or 8602 Wakanda Lane. for any of the cases, you can't possess any weapons or any firearms. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then 19 CF 5284, there is probable cause for burglary of a conveyance and grand theft third degree. Bond is $3,500 on count one, $150 on count two. You can't return to 6418 Cherry Grove Circle. And then in 19 CF 5287, I find probable cause for a burglary. Your bond is $3,500 in that matter as well. And you cannot return to the 2212 Morning Glory Drive. You also have 19 CF 5286, that's burglary of a conveyance. There is probable cause for that offense as well, sir. And your bond is $3,500. You cannot return to the Lake Gloria subdivision. State, did you want to be heard?
Yes, Your Honor, on the out on bond cases, it looks like in the 19 CF 3187, the court granted it looks like PTR in that case. We'd ask that the PTR be revoked, and at least a new bond be set. The state has not made a charging decision on that case, waiting on FDLE on that case. And in the 19 CF 3860 case, it looks like he was given a bond. The state would ask the bond be revoked and be doubled in that case. The state has not made a charging decision. However, it was just a 320 arrest, so it would be within the normal filing decision time of the state. So that was the 19 CF 3860 case is another burglary of a conveyance case, Your Honor.
Right. Mr. Augusto, did you want to be heard?
Yes, Your Honor, we would ask that because there has not been a charging decision made as to both cases, we would ask that you take no action in regard to those.
At this time on 19 CF 3860, I'm gonna revoke the bond in that case. I'm gonna set that case at none. He was arrested March 19th and bonded out the 21st, and the date on these new law offenses is March 25th for the same offense. And then 19 CF 3187, I'm not gonna take any action on that case.
Yes, Your Honor.
I think I had covered everything. Did I miss anything?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Yes. Yes. Okay, well, we'll reset.
I'm sorry, what was he?
Well, this is, he was arrested for battering a law enforcement officer.
We'll waive, Your Honor.
Okay. That's case number 19 CF 5266. Mr. Rivera Sanchez was arrested for battering a law enforcement officer. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office. There is probable cause, and his bond is $2,500. Good morning, your name?
Joshua Gould, Washington.
Mr. Washington, you are here for a bond motion. Mr. Augusto?
Mr. Thompson.
Oh, Mr. Thompson, I'm sorry, I
State has
didn't,
no objection, Your Honor.
I didn't look up. Okay, just give me a moment. Mr. Gould, make sure that, I'm gonna grant your motion. Make sure that you stay in contact with your attorney so that way you don't miss your court date.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Good morning. Are you Miss McLaughlin?
Yes.
Ma'am, we are here on a motion to adopt or to place on conditional release.
State has no objection, Your Honor.
Okay, just give me a moment.
And there are two cases, the 18 MM 4944 and 18 MM 8044. We'd ask that it follow those cases.
Okay, I'm gonna grant the motion. Adopting the findings as stated in the motion in 18 MM 176, 18 MM 4944, and 19 MM 8044. Thank you, ma'am. Oh. On the order, it asks for a status date, but I don't know where this case is gonna go. It's not gonna stay here. So I don't know what, I'm not gonna set it for any sort of future court date, Mr. Augusto, so I think you're gonna wanna flag that somehow. That way the attorney knows, whoever it's assigned to, knows that it needs to be set for a hearing.
We'll do it, Your Honor.
Or maybe coordinate it with one of the other 3 cases that she has. Hello, how are you? Are we on to 33-day?
Yes.
Ready, Your Honor?
Hello, Ms. Taylor.
How you doing, Your Honor?
Good, how are you today?
I'm good.
Good. Case number 19 CF 3544, Bobby Wyrick.
Mr. Wyrick's case, Your Honor. See, okay, sorry, they're not in order.
Oh, that's all right.
on my
Take your
sheet.
time.
That should be denied. The state filed information on 415.
Okay.
So we get an order here, and then she calls him.
19 CF 2189, Louise Ortiz.
That should be denied. The state filed information on 415. He just like, I'm not here. Sorry. Jason is-
19 CF 3658, John Cooks.
That should be granted. The state filed a notice of non-filing before the 33rd day on 415.
19 CF 3666, Christopher Holloway.
That should be granted. The state filed a notice of non-filing before the 33rd day on 4/15.
All right, that'll be granted. 19 CF 3636, John Cooks.
That should be granted. The state filed a notice of non-filing for the 33rd day on 4/11, sorry.
That will be granted. 18 CF 17860, Wayne Malier.
That should be granted. The state filed a notice of non-filing for the 33rd day on 4/15.
That'll be granted.
I was up. I did too much.
19 CF 2264, Wayne Malier.
That should be granted. The state filed a notice of non-filing for the 33rd day on 4/15.
That'll be granted. 19 MM 2064, William McClish.
That should be denied. The state filed an information on 4/15.
That'll be denied. Aaron Ford, 19 CF 1999.
That should be granted. The state filed a notice of non-filing before the 33rd day on 3/15.
That'll be granted. 19 CF 3654, Jonathan Willis.
That should be granted. The state filed a no information notice on 4/15.
That'll be granted. 19 CF 3080, Luis Ramos.
That should be denied. The state filed information on 4/15.
That'll be denied. 19 CF 3468, Fletcher Howard.
That should be granted. The state filed a notice of non-filing before the 33rd day on 4/15.
That'll be granted. 19 CF 3624, Jonesisha Smith.
That should be denied. The state filed an information on 4/15.
That will be denied. 19 CF 3613, Jonathan De Jesus.
That should be denied. The state filed an information on 4/15.
That'll be denied. And 19 CF 3459, Robert Washburn.
That should be granted. The state filed a notice of non-filing before the 33rd day on 4/15.
That will be granted. 19 CF 3591, Nelson Figueroa.
That should be granted. The state filed a no information on 4/15.
And that will be granted. Anything else?
That is all.
All right, we'll be in recess until 1 o'clock. Good afternoon, I'm Judge Amy Carter. This is Courtroom 1, Session 2. Could I have the attorneys place their appearances on the record, please?
Kathy Kennedy Swanson on behalf of the Office of the State Attorney.
Alexis Augustine on behalf of the Office of the Public Defender.
All right. Okay. Good afternoon, sir. Your name?
Emmanuel Charles.
Mr. Charles, this is case number 19 CF 5359. You were arrested for possession of MDMA and resisting officer without violence. I find probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Your bond on count 1 is $1,000. Your bond on count 2 is $100, sir. And on 19 MM 2625, I'm not going to take any action at this time in that case, sir. Thank you. Good morning, your name? I'm sorry, good afternoon, your name.
Camille Hogan.
Mr. Golding, this is case number 19 CF 5, oh,
Hogan.
Holding?
Hogan with a H.
Oh, Hogan.
Yes, like Hulk Hogan.
I see, got it, okay.
I hear that all my life.
Got it. Thank you. I'm sorry, I thought you said Golding.
No,
Mr. Hogan,
yes, ma'am.
this is case number 17 CF 8832. You were arrested for possession of cannabis less than 20 grams. I do find probable cause. I will appoint the public defender's office to represent you. I'm gonna set your bond at $100. You also have an on-view, that's case number 19 MM 3215. Your violation of probation is case number 17 CF 8832. I do find probable cause for the violation of probation based upon the new law offense, and I'm gonna set your bond at $1,500, sir. Thank you. Sir, good afternoon. Your name?
Fiance.
Your name?
Newman Elaraza Torres, ma'am.
Mr. Torres, this is case number 19 CF 5380. You were arrested for trafficking in cocaine greater than 28 grams with a firearm, possession of ammunition by a convicted felon, possession of a firearm or ammunition by a convicted felon, and possession of a firearm in the commission of a felony. I do find probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you, sir. Gonna set your bond at $10,000 on count one, $150 on count two, $150 on count three. I'm sorry, on count two is $2,500, and then count three will be $150, count four will be $150.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Your name?
Linnell Jenkins.
Are you Miss Jenkins?
Yes, ma'am.
This is case number 19 CF 5372. You were arrested for possession of cocaine, tampering with physical evidence, and possession of drug paraphernalia.
Yes, ma'am.
I do find probable cause. Did you want a lawyer to represent you, ma'am, or are you gonna hire your own?
Man, this is my first rodeo right here. I'm going cocaine charges. This is my first time for cocaine.
I understand.
But for paraphernalia, I have not smoked dope or drug or anything in years.
Okay, let me just stop you really quick, ma'am. Today is not your day
I
to
know.
contest the
I
charges, okay?
understand.
Today, I'm just going to determine what your release conditions are. So let me ask you again, do you want to see if you qualify for the public defender, or are you gonna hire your own lawyer?
Public defender.
Okay, do you have a job?
No.
Okay, do you have any source of income?
No.
All right, ma'am, I will appoint the public defender's office to represent you. I do find probable cause for these offenses. I'm gonna set your bond, ma'am, at $500 on count one, $150 on count two, and $100 on count three. Thank you, ma'am. Okay. Good afternoon, ma'am. Are you Miss Rojas?
Rosas, yes.
This is case number 19 CF 5363 and 19 MM 3217. Ma'am, you were arrested for resisting officer with violence. I do find probable cause. You were also arrested for battery and resisting officer without violence. Your affidavit of insolvency, ma'am, states that you make $1,000 every 2 weeks. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and that's after taxes?
Yes, ma'am.
And you don't have any dependents?
No, ma'am.
Okay. You don't qualify for the public defender, so you're going to need to hire an attorney. to represent you in this matter. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In 19 CF 5363, your bond is going to be, was she just didn't qualify for a pretrial release because she wasn't interviewed? Okay. So ma'am, your bond on 19 CF 5363 is going to be $1,000. In 19 CF 5362, battery on a law enforcement officer, there's probable cause for that as well. Your bond will also be $1,000. And 19 MM 3217, your bond on count 1 is going to be $100. Your bond on count 2 is $100. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, your name?
Noah Sanders.
Mr. Sanders, this is case number 19 CF 5364. You were arrested for possession of ecstasy and possession of cannabis less than 20 grams. I find probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you, sir. Your bond on count 1 is $500. Your bond on count 2 is $100. Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, your name?
Richard Murray Scott.
Mr. Scott, this is case number 19 CF 5370. You were arrested for possession of a controlled substance, possession of cocaine, and possession of drug paraphernalia. I find probable cause for all of the offenses, and I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you, sir. Your bond on count 1 is going to be $500. Your bond on count 2 is $150, and your bond on count 3 is $100.
Ma'am, my first account is my inhaler. They charged me with my inhaler. My I got COPD, and it was in my pocket. So they said it's a controlled substance. It had my name on it and everything.
Just a second, sir. No, sir, they didn't, based on the affidavit that I'm reading, you were charged for 0.34 grams of cocaine, or what tested presumptively positive for cocaine, and 0.6 grams of what tested presumptively positive for ecstasy. Those are the 2 controlled substances that you've been charged with. Okay?
What is it?
Thank you.
What is it?
Sir, good afternoon. Your name?
James Sewell.
Mr. Sewell, this is case number 19 CF 5366. You were arrested for aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. I find probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office, sir. And I'm gonna set your bond at $2,500.
Ma'am, I was just defending myself.
Okay, sir, that may be true, but today's not the day that you get to contest the charges, okay? You'll definitely have another day to do that, though.
We'd ask for no contact with the victim and no weapons or firearms.
Okay. Mr. Sewell, you can't have any contact with Mr. Vargas, and you're not to possess any weapons or any firearms while you're out on bond. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Your name?
Michael Silver.
Mr. Silver, this is case number 19 CF 5371. You were arrested for possessing a firearm during a felony, carrying a concealed weapon, possession of a controlled substance without a prescription, 2 counts, possession of marijuana less than 20 grams, and possession of drug paraphernalia. I do find probable cause for each of the offenses. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Your bond on count 1 is $5,000. Your bond on count 2, 3, and 4 is $150. Your bond on counts 5 and 6 is $100. And in 18 CF 16856, sir, I'm going to revoke your bond in that matter at this time, and it will be set at none. Thank you. Okay. You, Mr. Williams?
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, sir. This is case number 19 CF 5373. You were arrested for carrying a concealed firearm, grand theft, 3rd degree of a firearm, and possession of cannabis less than 20 grams. I do find probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you, and I am going to order pretrial release. Thank you, sir.
We also ask for no weapons or firearms, Your Honor.
Yes, sir. As a condition of your pretrial release, you're not to possess any weapons or any firearms. Do you understand?
That's the only thing?
Yes.
I mean, what about, all right, don't worry about it. Thank you. Thank you.
Good luck, sir. Good luck. Good afternoon. Your name?
Good afternoon, Louis Uraka.
Okay. Are you Mr. Uraka?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Uraka, this is case number 19 CT 2913. You were arrested for driving while license suspended. I do find probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
And your bond is $500. 19 CF 1642, I'll take no action on that at this time. Thank you. Ms. Olson, bond out?
Ms. Olson is mental health, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll reset Ms. Olson. Good afternoon, sir. Your name?
Gerardo Garcia.
Mr. Garcia, you're here for an out-of-county warrant
Ma'am,
from
wait.
Duval County.
Yes, ma'am.
It's for violation of probation for criminal mischief and burglary of an unoccupied dwelling. At this time, your bond is set at none. You'll see a judge when you get to Duval County, sir.
Okay.
All right.
If by any chance, is there no way, I was on the way to Jacksonville to really take care of it. I was living there. I live there.
Yeah.
I was just down here in Miami.
Okay.
And of course, I got caught, not caught, but got arrested. But I was just wondering if I could get like an R&R and I go take care of that up there in Jacksonville.
I don't have any authority over this warrant, sir. Okay, so
Okay.
they're gonna come pick you up and you'll see a judge when you get there.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm gonna reset Mr. Clark one more time.
There was no offer in the case, Your Honor.
There's no offer?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. So this is 19 MM 3186 Bernice Ruth. She was arrested for petty theft and trespass on property after warning. I do find probable cause. I'm appointing the public defender. Her bond is 100 on count 1 and 500 on count 2. And 19 MO 680, I'll take no action on that case.
You asked us for no return to the racetrack?
Yes. I'll order that as well. Okay. Are you Mr. Sanjuine? Am I saying that correctly?
Mr. Sanguine.
Sanguine, okay,
ma'am.
sir. This is case number 19 CF 5301. You are arrested for burglary of an occupied dwelling, criminal mischief, aggravated assault, and trespass. Mr. Augusto?
Yes, Your Honor. We did have a probable cause challenge as to the burglary of occupied dwelling charge. However, we did confer with the state before court. She has agreed, or we have stipulated to having count 1 be a trespass and be the primary offense being the aggravated assault.
Okay. Is that correct, state?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
We'd also ask for no contact with the listed victim, Ms. Kennedy, no return to Islesworth, at any of Islesworth at all, and no weapons or firearms.
Okay. All right. So as to count 1, I'll find probable cause for the lesser included offense of trespass. There is probable cause for counts 2, 3, and 4. I'm gonna set bond at $1,000 on count 3. Count 1 will be 100, count 2 will be 100, count 4 will be 100. Sir, you're not to return to Isleworth or any of the Isleworth properties or any
No.
of the alleged victims in this matter, and you're not to possess any weapons or any firearms. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Your Honor.
It's 810. No. Hold on, I'll get it for you. 810. Okay, 810.08. That's fine. Just double check. Yes. It'd be 810.1B. I'm sorry, 2B. 810.2B. 810.2B. I have them right here for you. Thank you. We'll be in recess.